The drill bit screamed as it cut through rock 12,262 meters below the surface. Then the microphones picked up something else, something that should not exist. The recording lasted 17 seconds before the entire research team went silent. Within 72 hours, every tape was confiscated and classified under national security protocols that should not apply to geological research. Let us rewind. In 1970, Soviet scientists began drilling what would become the deepest hole humanity has ever bored into the Earth's crust. The Kola Superdeep Borehole, located in the remote Arctic Circle of northwestern Russia, was an ambitious attempt to penetrate deeper into our planet than anyone had dared before. The official objective was to reach the Mohorovičić discontinuity, the boundary between Earth's crust and mantle. What they found instead would challenge everything we thought we knew about what exists below the surface. To understand just how deep 12,262 meters really is, you need perspective. That's 40,230 feet straight down into solid rock. If you dropped the Empire State Building into this hole, you would need to stack 29 of them end to end just to reach the surface. This hole is deeper than the Mariana Trench is deep underwater. We are talking about a wound in the Earth's crust that took 24 years of continuous drilling to create. According to geological models, the temperature at 12,000 meters should have been around 100 degrees Celsius. Challenging, but manageable. The actual temperature was 180 degrees Celsius. That is hot enough to boil water instantly, and the instruments showed the temperature was still rising. The heat meant that every assumption about Earth's thermal gradient was wrong. The planet was far hotter inside than our models predicted. But the temperature anomaly was just the beginning. At around 7,000 meters, the drill cores revealed something impossible: water. Not just moisture, but actual free-flowing water that had been sealed in the rock formation for over 2 billion years. This water should not exist at these depths. The pressure should have forced it into the rock's crystalline structure. Yet there it was, ancient water, older than complex life on Earth, trapped in stone since before oxygen filled our atmosphere. The drill cores revealed other disturbing anomalies. Hydrogen gas was seeping from the depths in quantities that could not be explained. Helium concentrations were off the charts, and as they pushed deeper, the rock itself began behaving strangely. Around 12,000 meters, the rock stopped behaving like solid stone. Under extreme pressure and heat, it became plastic, almost fluid-like. The drill would punch through sections of what should have been solid granite, only to encounter zones where the rock seemed to flow around the drill bit. Their instruments detected massive fractures in the rock, cracks that extended for kilometers. The seismic data suggested they were drilling into or near vast empty spaces, voids that should not exist under the crushing pressure of 12 kilometers of solid rock above them. But the geological surprises were just the beginning. What they found at maximum depth would change everything. At 6,700 meters, the drill cores brought up microfossils, single-celled organisms preserved in rock formations dated back 2.8 billion years. These organisms were more ancient than any fossils found on the surface, and their cellular structures were intact enough to reveal details about the earliest life on Earth. But here's where things got disturbing. Some rock samples contained organic compounds that should not have survived the extreme heat. Chemical analysis revealed biological molecules that appeared far too fresh for their supposed age. Then came the discovery that made several team members question their instruments. Deep within the rock samples, they found living bacteria, not fossils, not dormant spores. Active, metabolizing microorganisms thriving at 180 degrees Celsius and under pressure that would crush a human instantly. These were not any bacteria known to science. DNA analysis revealed genetic sequences that bore little resemblance to surface life. These organisms had evolved in complete isolation for hundreds of millions of years. Their metabolism was based on hydrogen and methane, not oxygen. They were literally eating the rock and the chemicals seeping up from even deeper in the earth. The implications were staggering. If life could exist at these depths, then the total biomass of Earth might be far greater than we imagined. There could be an entire shadow biosphere beneath our feet, a world of extremophile organisms that evolved completely separately from surface life. The biological discoveries were disturbing enough. But when the drill reached 12,262 meters, the microphones picked up something that made the entire research team freeze. The Kola drilling operation had installed high-sensitivity microphones deep in the borehole to monitor seismic activity and geological processes. These microphones could detect the faint creaking of rock under stress, the grinding of tectonic plates, and subtle vibrations that preceded earthquakes. At maximum depth, these microphones began recording something else: acoustic anomalies that did not match any known geological phenomenon. The sounds began as low-frequency rumbles, initially attributed to drill equipment or tectonic movement. But the pattern was wrong. The acoustic signatures showed rhythmic variations that repeated at regular intervals over hours. The frequency analysis revealed complexity that suggested organization. Some acoustic data suggested breathing, rhythmic expansion, and contraction of the rock, as if something massive was moving down there. The intervals were too regular to be random geological settling. Then came the recording that changed everything. On a specific date that remains classified, the microphones captured 17 seconds of audio that defied explanation. Multiple team members who heard the original recording described it as screaming or howling. The frequency patterns did not match rock fracturing under stress. They did not match any drilling equipment malfunction. The acoustic analysis showed modulations and harmonics that seemed almost organic. Dr. Dmitry Azakov, the chief acoustician, later claimed the sound resembled biological vocalizations, but at impossible volumes, as in depths. He described hearing it as deeply unsettling and noted that several team members refused to continue monitoring the audio feeds afterward. The temperature at 12,262 meters was 180 degrees Celsius. The pressure was equivalent to having a mountain sitting on every square inch. No known life form could survive those conditions and produce sounds of that magnitude. Yet the recordings were clear, unmistakable, and deeply disturbing. But perhaps most troubling were the seismic surveys. The data revealed acoustic voids, empty spaces detected in the rock below the drill site. Not small cavities, but massive structures that extended for kilometers. These voids should not exist. At depths of 12 kilometers and beyond, the pressure is so intense that any empty space should have collapsed immediately. Yet the seismic data clearly showed hollow structures, caverns deep within the Earth's crust, where physics said they could not exist. Some detected voids appeared to be several kilometers in diameter. If accurate, these would be among the largest cavern systems on Earth, hidden at depths no human could ever physically reach. When researchers tried to analyze these recordings in detail, something unprecedented happened. In 1992, after 24 years of operation and just 300 meters from their target depth, the Kola Superdeep Borehole project suddenly stopped. The official explanation was budget constraints following the collapse of the Soviet Union. But that explanation never made sense. The drilling equipment was functioning perfectly. The team was ahead of schedule. Every day brought new discoveries that would have justified continued funding. The real reason became clear within days of the shutdown. Military officers arrived at the remote drilling site. They confiscated every audio recording made below 10,000 meters. Hard drives, magnetic tapes, written transcripts, everything was seized and classified under national security provisions that should not apply to geological research. The research team was required to sign non-disclosure agreements with criminal penalties. They were forbidden from discussing specific findings, sharing data, or publishing papers about the deeper sections without military approval. Dr. Dmitry Azakov, who mentioned the unusual recordings in a scientific journal interview, found his funding cut within months. His university position was terminated. His career in geoacoustics effectively ended the moment he spoke publicly. Multiple researchers from the Kola project found themselves unable to publish or secure funding. Those who remained silent kept their positions. Those who asked questions found their careers dismantled. The site itself was sealed. In 1995, the remaining equipment was dismantled. The borehole was filled with concrete. Access to the area became restricted. Today, the site sits rusting in the Russian Arctic, a monument to humanity's deepest penetration into Earth's crust, and the secrets someone decided we should not know. But Kola wasn't the only deep drilling project to encounter disturbing findings. In 1990, Germany launched the Continental Deep Drilling Program known as KTB, drilling 9,101 meters into Bavarian crystalline bedrock. Like Kola, they encountered thermal anomalies. Like Kola, they detected unexpected water at impossible depths. And like Kola, they recorded acoustic anomalies that could not be explained. The KTB project ended prematurely in 1994, officially due to equipment failure, but researchers described the same pattern: unusual acoustic data, recordings that defied explanation. Then sudden classification of key findings, followed by project termination. In 2011, Russia drilled the Sakhalin-Warm borehole, reaching 12,345 meters, slightly deeper than Kola. Yet access to the project data is heavily restricted. Reports of geologically significant discoveries were published but never detailed. Multiple nations have attempted deep drilling projects. The pattern repeats. Initial excitement, unexpected discoveries at extreme depths, then sudden classification, funding cuts, and project termination. There are now international treaties restricting certain types of deep drilling. Specific geographic locations are banned from penetration beyond certain depths, with no scientific justification provided. Scientists who have worked on classified deep drilling projects describe findings that would fundamentally change our understanding of what exists beneath our feet. They speak of massive void structures detected at multiple sites worldwide. They reference impossible thermal anomalies. They describe acoustic recordings that share disturbing similarities across projects separated by thousands of miles. But they can't say more. The classification prevents it. So what are they hiding? What did they find at the bottom of the Kola Superdeep Borehole that warranted immediate classification? Theory 1. Massive cavern systems exist deep within Earth's crust. The seismic data from Kola and other deep drilling projects consistently show void structures that should not exist at those pressures. If these caverns are real and widespread, it means our understanding of plate tectonics is incomplete. Our models of earthquake prediction, volcanic activity, and continental drift would all need revision. Theory 2. A deep biosphere exists on a scale we never imagined. The living bacteria found at Kola were not isolated specimens. Some researchers estimate that the total biomass of microorganisms living in Earth's crust could exceed all life on the surface combined. These organisms use chemosynthesis rather than photosynthesis, creating an entire shadow ecosystem. This would revolutionize biology and the search for life on other planets. The biosphere idea would change everything. Theory 3. Unknown geological processes generate the acoustic anomalies. Perhaps natural nuclear reactions occur in Earth's core, generating sounds and heat in patterns we do not understand. But this theory struggles to account for the organized, rhythmic nature of the recordings. The nuclear hypothesis raises as many questions as answers. Theory 4. Something else exists down there. What if the acoustic anomalies, the massive voids, The impossible thermal readings all point to something we have not considered. Structures that should not be natural, energy sources that could revolutionize our economic systems, or something even more unsettling that world governments have agreed must remain buried. The possibility is unsettling. Whatever the truth is, one thing is certain: they are making sure we do not dig that deep again. We have explored more of the moon's surface than we have of Earth's interior. The 12,262 meters reached by Kola represents only 0.19% of the distance to Earth's core. We have barely scratched the surface, literally. Beneath our feet exist temperatures, pressures, and conditions that defy our models. Life thrives where it should not exist. Sounds emanate from depths that challenge our understanding. Massive voids hide in supposedly solid rock. These findings are profound. Modern drilling technology would allow us to go even deeper than Kola. We could answer the questions the Soviet scientists were forced to abandon. But there are no major deep drilling projects planned. International restrictions grow stricter. Previous deep borehole locations are sealed or restricted. It is as if, having found something down there, humanity collectively decided never to look again. The restrictions are tightening. 12,262 meters below your feet, microphones recorded something that changed everything. Sounds that did not match any known geological process. Life that should not exist at those depths. Voids where empty space should be impossible. This evidence changed the course of the project. The recordings were classified within 72 hours. The researchers were silenced. The hole was sealed. And the world's governments found consensus. Whatever was discovered at the bottom of the Kola Superdeep Borehole must never be fully disclosed. The silencing was rapid and absolute. The deepest hole ever drilled revealed that we do not know our own planet. And something about those depths is considered so significant that transparency is not an option. The unknown remains vast. The Earth is talking. Deep beneath the surface, something is making sounds that our instruments can detect, but our scientists are not allowed to fully analyze. The signal is there, but access is denied. The question is not just what they found down there. The question is, what is it trying to tell us that they do not want us to hear? What do you think they discovered at the bottom of the Kola Superdeep Borehole? Subscribe for more discoveries that science doesn't want you to know. The abyss beneath our feet keeps its secrets, but we're going to keep digging for the truth.